Hey there everybody, I'm Jack. This is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Beautiful Sunday here in South Alabama. We're still above average for our temperatures, but not so humid and muggy anymore. Kind of reminding me what the spring's going to be like. Spring's actually pretty pleasant around here because by then, even though it's got warmer temperatures, it's not muggy. So spring will be nice. Doing some cinnamon rolls right now again, so I'm really looking forward to those coming out this evening. They won't be done until about 9 o'clock tonight, but I might have to have a little snack. Today I want to talk about an important raw food diet tip that people ignore. Guys, I do videos every day, so if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please go down there and hit that red subscribe button. Then click on the little bell and check send notifications so you'll stay subscribed to the channel. The raw food diet tip that people ignore. I talk about this a lot of times, but I'm going to talk about it from a little bit different angle today. Everybody wants to be spoon-fed. Spoon-fed. I mean, I see it in comments I see it on social media, I see it in groups, I see it posted places. I just see it all over the place. People basically want somebody to do this for them. They want one little concise sheet. I think what they want is like a concise write-up, you know, like in 2 pages or less, how do I do this lifestyle? And they want somebody else to do it. It's never going to, listen, you are never going to succeed on this. You're never going to thrive on this following somebody else's lead or waiting for somebody else to show you how to do it. You are an individual organism and you have to figure out how this is going to work for you. Now, what I'm normally talking about when I talk about this subject of doing things for yourself, being more self-sufficient, I'm talking about research. And I'll briefly mention that, but actually for those that have heard that a million times from me, I'm not really talking overall in that direction today. Research, yeah, it's like, you know, we have resources out there. We have more resources out there with the internet the way it is now and everybody having gadgets and computers and whatever than anybody in the history of the world has ever had. I mean, think about people that did major research, say 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 200 years ago. How hard it was for them to find sources, to find information. You know, you had to run things down. I was thinking just the other day, you know, back in the day, you know, 20 years ago, the internet existed, but most of us weren't all, you know, had search engines and knew what we were doing. So, well, let's say 25 years ago. 25 years ago or longer, let's say we were sitting around one day and somebody said, I think so-and-so won the 1949 World Series. Well, most of the time back then, we were like, you could just like, no, you don't know what you're talking about, back and forth, but nobody could ever verify that. Or maybe later, a few weeks or months later, you would be somewhere that would have a resource, or maybe you were motivated enough to go to the library. The point being, we've got phenomenal resources at our fingertips every day in these little phones that we keep with us all the time. There's nothing out there that you can't learn. There's nothing out there you cannot find out. There's just gobs and gobs of information out there. But what I'm actually want to talk about more today is the actual application, the practice, more of the physical hands-on of doing this thing. I'm telling you, that's just how it is. Everybody wants to be spoon-fed. It's like, okay, just tell me what I need to do. Well, give me the concise version and big bang boom, I'm going to do it. No, you're not. You're just kind of like using that. Once I know how to do everything properly, when I can do it right, then I will do it. You figure it out. You figure it out. One of the main things I get asked a gazillion times, and I understand the dynamics of that. This isn't me complaining because every social media platform is different and it's different from forums, and people's thinking is different in there. Instagram is very visual, very quick, so I realize you constantly have people seeing your stuff and they're new. They haven't seen your stuff or heard you talk about anything before. But the #1 question I get, how to make that nice cream. And I do catch some people, because I know some people that just, they'll constantly write to me, or they'll message me, or they'll make a comment like, I wish mine would come out like that. And a lot of times they're not asking a question. They just kind of, and I kind of maybe recognize the name. I'm like, well, you've been making this stuff for 2 or 3 months. What's the problem? The biggest thing, the way I've done a lot of this stuff and the way I finally learned how to do some of the things that I wanted to, like nice cream, I would say I've had nice cream, but when I first started having nice cream in Costa Rica, I just used my juicer. That juicer that people see above the counter sometime, it's an Omega juicer. I just use that to make nice cream. Then I got my first Vitamix, and I started making nice cream in there. And I would, you know, in the beginning, I would use a little bit of almond milk, and I would use liquid and this and that. And I was never satisfied. And then I guess it was about the beginning of last year, about the beginning of 2018, that I just went ice cream crazy. And I made it day after day after day after day after day after day after day. I mean, probably in 2018, I would almost bet you anything I had an ice cream at least 300 out of 365 days. And when you do something 300 times in a year, you tend to get good at it. I would take the top off. I would pay attention. It wasn't even, you know, like making the nice cream. It's just like I would watch the gears of my Vitamix. I tell people all the time, you'll jump up at least 5 levels on your production of stuff from the Vitamix if you really pay attention and learn the gears, the motor of your Vitamix, because I learned little minute things and tweaks that I could do to get that nice cream just as perfect as I want it. Now I got pretty good, and I made a lot of good stuff in the Vitamix, but then I finally said, well, why don't I try this? Everybody's always talking about the food processor, so I have my little $35 food processor. But it was a new machine to learn, so I made ice cream over and over and over and over, day after day. It was tough. It was tough having to eat that damn stuff just to learn how to do something. But eventually, as we progressed into 2018, I started getting my nice cream game stronger, and that was by nothing other than repetition, practice. And it all started with me being very observant and playing with what I was doing and being, aware and learning and experimenting, and I learned those gears. The same thing somebody was asking me about, I think this was on Instagram as well, just this morning. And people ask me this one all the time. And this one, dude, there's so many little tutorials and tips and stuff out there. I prefer cutting my mangoes. And I'm pretty good at it. And people are like, well, how do you get mangoes? I can't cut a mango. Well, you just got to do it. You just got to do it. Watch a couple of tutorials or watch a couple of people do it peeling and cutting a mango. And somebody will always tell me, well, I don't need to cut my mangoes. Well, then good, just bite into them. But you can learn all this stuff. A video's already been done. I'm going to tell you something like I told you and told you and told you many times as we were switching from the old year into the new year. Nobody's going to come up with anything new. If you're waiting for that prolific video on YouTube that's completely new on this subject, it's all been made. Just get out there and search it. And you can learn how to do this stuff, and you hack your way there. You hack your way there. That's all I've done. And I'm a lazy person, and it was a little counterintuitive for me because I am that guy that I'm always kind of railing against in certain things on the computer. I remember I used to sit in an office and I would ask my friend every little, hey, how do you do this? How do you do this? As I was actually learning how to use a computer pretty well about 18, 19 years ago. And he just was getting tired. He's like, dude, you can figure some of this stuff out. Just go figure it out. Here's what you do. Here's where you go. Search here, search there. And I learned that we can pretty much teach ourselves anything, whether it's through study and research or whether it's just through sheer repetition and watching what other people do. A lot of times things look, especially this raw vegan food, it can look, some of the good looking stuff can look so good that you're like, oh, well, that's got to be difficult. Just like this batch of, I think it's going to be cinnamon rolls again. It could be chocolate rolls, but just like this batch of cinnamon rolls. Now, I love these things, and I have seen them forever, people making them. I had them at Woodstock, and I tell you what, however they make those damn things at Woodstock, they are just next level. They're perfect all the time. So, got a recipe from a friend. Finally got one from a friend. I'm like, okay, let's see if I can get a simple one and just do these things, how hard it's going to be. And I made the first ones last weekend, and I'm like, ridiculously easy. So a lot of this stuff, just do it. Just do it. Don't wait until you know. Don't wait until you're perfect. Don't wait until you're ready. Don't wait until you know everything. Don't wait until you're ready to do everything, know how to do everything. Just roll up your sleeves and get in there and learn. Being involved, being interactive is the best process. But Those are the people that succeed on this lifestyle. I know people even like Melissa and people that do recipe books and stuff. They did their first recipe book. You know, they weren't just like, all of a sudden they were, you know, information was put into their head on how to put recipes together. They figured it out. All of the stuff, everything we need is within ourselves. We could do that. Like, let's say theoretically you had the food available, you had the resources that existed online, and you didn't have one single person you could ask about anything or interact in. You could still pretty much teach yourself anything you wanted to know. So, you know, pay attention, get involved. Don't be so lazy. Get in there and try stuff. Don't be intimidated by any of this stuff, because I'm not a kitchen person. You guys obviously know that. And the more things I try, the more I surprise myself. Like, wow, I can really do this. And you know, even for somebody like me that's coming up on 7 years, just having a few extra things. And no, just because I'm talking a lot about the dehydrator, it's not like I'm eating out of a dehydrator now or completely changing. It's just these little things that just kind of make it more pleasant. You know, you got, okay, now I got another snack here, a treat there. Ooh, I can make this or I can make that. And bing, bang, boom, before you know it, you've been doing this lifestyle a couple of years and you kind of know what you're doing, and it just becomes flawless and easy, and you just do it and you don't think about all this stuff anymore. So anyhow, get involved, do it yourself. Hope you guys enjoyed this one today. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.